Well, we've had a bit of a good news, bad news end to the summer transfer window. We did finally sign some defenders, which is our good news. I don't know if they're any good or not, though, which is, I guess, that goes in the bad news column. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 13 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we have two matches, one against Huddersfield, and then the other one, bearing in mind we're in the Championship, we're away against Northampton, which I think must be a typo. We'll presumably find out who we're actually playing in that second match later on in the episode. As promised, we did bring in some loanee defenders, though. They were complete shots in the dark. We had no idea if these players were going to be any good or not. They were recommendations by my director of football. They weren't scouted. We didn't have time to scout them. They were about the 7th and 8th options that we were presented with over the course of the summer, I think, and we just ran out of time for scouting. We just had to bring them in. I think we've lucked out with this one, Tom Thomas, which, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, if you're watching, what a name to give your kid. I haven't actually checked. Hold on. His full name is Tom Thomas. So Tom isn't short for Thomas. This isn't Thomas Thomas, and he's decided to abbreviate it. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas have decided to give their kid the first name, the full first name of Tom. So Tom Thomas is on loan from the season from West Ham, who've just bought him off of Bristol City. And he's by far and away the best defender we've got. So we've had a bit of a win with him. Jake Herford, not quite so impressive in terms of name or ability. He's a 3-star current ability defender with 5-star potential on loan from Spurs. He's as good as Mark Beavers and better than anyone else we've got. So he's still an improvement on what we had, really. But Tom Thomas is definitely the man. And to celebrate, we sold Sim Tandy to Sheffield United. I don't really know how we got money for him. I don't remember him still being at the club. I apparently signed him and never played him, so to be able to get some money in for him was great. Since you were last with me, form has gone a little bit out of the window. We're doing all right in the Carabao Cup, if you mean Ebbsfleet on penalties, and then Swindon after extra time is doing all right. But since you saw us win on that first game of the season, we haven't won another league game. There's been a draw, followed by 2 defeats, which means 4 games into our league season. And we're starting to look a little bit iffy. We are meeting the Kev ratio at the moment, 4 points from 4 games. But we do need to maintain that going into today's matches. Of course, if we are genuinely playing Northampton in the Championship, that's a guaranteed 3 points. So we should still end the episode at or above the Kev ratio regardless. But this is a team we're putting out there for the first game, the one against Huddersfield, like a proper Championship team. So we've got Rudd in goal, a back four of Van Aanholt, Thomas, Herford and Thompson, with Boateng, Dazelle and Tunnicliffe in midfield, and then Shashua in behind Ugbo and Hall. I've given up with the idea of advanced forwards and poachers playing together. I tried it pretty much every game. I think it was the last game, the Swindon one, was it? In the Carabao Cup, the most recent one, was when we finally bit the bullet and brought Ugbo back in as target man. I mean, he was our star man of last season, and immediately, he'd come off the bench a couple of times as well, but immediately started linking up the play a lot better. We just look more threatening going forward with Ugbo in the team. Oh, that's some poor defending. That's some really very poor defending. It doesn't matter how good we are going forward when our defenders have got this in them. Herford heads it to Dazelle. Dazelle just stands there and gives it to one of their players and they score. Oh, dearie me. We are so poor defensively. I don't think it would be an unfair thing to say that this is the start of our 3rd season at Portsmouth. And I don't think it would be unfair to say every year we've made the defence a little bit worse, which is quite impressive considering the team trajectory as a whole has been upwards in that time. But just defensively, we are pathetic at the moment. And we're now 2-0 down after 5 minutes. Ugbo's picked up a knock, and we're showing no signs of anything other than just another crushing defeat. Barry Scott's picked up an injury, which was the other motivation behind getting Ugbo back in the team. It wasn't all tactical. I can't claim I was a complete genius. So we've got Dunn as the only option as a backup striker if Ugbo does have to come off. And despite Dunn showing moments towards the end of last year that he might not be completely useless, he also hasn't ever shown us that he's a Championship quality striker. And Herford is lucky to still be on the pitch. if he'd have done that outside the penalty area, then it's absolutely a red card. But that could be the start of our comeback. We get a penalty save from Rudd, then they hit the post. Hopefully that should be enough to just spark us into life, because we've just gifted them chance after chance after chance in the first 15 minutes of this game. And we need to get up the other end. And I said in yesterday's video that it doesn't matter how bad we are at the back as long as we outscore teams. And that's always been our motto. But we're so poor at the back at the moment, and we're not scoring enough goals. Oh, I thought that was the third. So we're just cruising towards relegation as it stands at the moment. The one safety net that we've got is the board are only looking for us to avoid relegation again. So as long as we don't actually get relegated, I shouldn't lose my job. And if it's looking like it even might be something we need to worry about, we won't still be at the club by Christmas. So there's not a chance of us getting relegated at Portsmouth. We will jump ship if it looks like it's all going a little bit wrong, even if it means the sideways move to another championship club that we talked about yesterday and decided that it was probably a silly idea. We should be trying to move onwards and upwards. But if we really, really can't... Ugbo's properly injured now. If it really looks like we're definitely going down, or we're going to be caught in a relegation battle, then let's not get a relegation to our name on FM18. We need to just jump ship and go manage someone like Palace or Villa or Norwich, one of these proper championship teams, mid-table, just nice and easy. Have a good year with them, get them up into the playoffs, and then have a Premier League pick us up. We've already shown in non-league to legend this year it's not a disaster if we have to take an extra stop on our journey at various points. Leaving Alfreton after a year was the best thing we've done, because if we weren't going to get fired, we could have stuck it out for another year, but there was just no way we were going to do with them what we went on to do with Bath. And I think that's, in the interests of cliche bingo, one of those things we have to start thinking about with Portsmouth, even though it is very early in this season. The young defenders could come good. Once Barry Scott's back, we could start scoring goals again. But there comes a point where we have to start thinking, have we taken Portsmouth as far as we can? Because last season's upper mid-table finish was spectacular. What's the very best we could hope for again this year? If we're happy with another upper mid-table finish and we're not sure we're good enough for that, then it's probably time to move on. We don't want to be treading water. Dunn has just scored an absolute beauty. A lovely piece of control. Brilliant finish. Robbie Dunn, slowly but surely, and it is so slow, but slowly but surely, Robbie Dunn's turning into a championship player. This is a lovely ball over the top from Boateng. Lovely first touch control from Dunn, and he just tucks it into the near post. Keeper's expecting it to go the other way. Lovely finish. Robbie Dunn's a proper player. Right. Shashua, let's get him off before he gets a proper injury as well, like Ugbo did. And Dazelle hasn't really recovered from his shenanigans that led to that first goal, was it? Boateng and Hamilton can... What does Hamilton actually want to be? Hamilton's a ball-winning midfielder as well, is he? Well, be a Mazzala on attack then, if you don't want to be an attacking playmaker. In fact, if that's the case, let's stick Grant to be a playmaker, because he likes to playmake. And that might just be enough to give us a route back into the game. So Tunnicliffe forward to Hall, who's had a really quiet game, but because of the injury to Ugbo, taking him off has never been on the cards. Van Aanholt over to Tunnicliffe. Hall is in, and there's your equaliser. 20 minutes to go. The momentum's all with us. It's been very doom and gloom on this episode so far, but we're in the ascendancy. If we manage to win this one, we're definitely going to beat Northampton. I'll just reload 18 times if I have to. I'm not showing you a defeat against Northampton in the Championship. This isn't fairy tale fantasy stories for Northampton fans. That's not what non-league to legend stands for. That's before the substitutions have even taken place as well. Right, here we go. I smell a winner. Let's go and kill this game off. The winner's going to come for them, isn't it? Rudd holds on though, and we've still got 15 minutes to go. The momentum is all with us, and it's Thomas. Tom Thomas, don't forget, finds its way forward to Hall eventually, and that just underlines the nonsense that we've had to put up with today. I don't know how they've not scored from that. Not only did we get the terrible pass from Hall, the lunging tackle from Hereford as well, who just does not look ready for Championship football at all. I think it might be Tom Thomas along with Beavers at the back might be the option for us, because Hereford is having an absolute nightmare of a game, even though in theory, ratings-wise, he's doing better than Tom Thomas. But every time I look at him, he's lunging in, giving away penalties, trying to hack people down. This is Hereford again, I think, and he's just nowhere near, just so off the pace. Although I guess fitness might be a reason for that. Perhaps once he's a little bit fitter, and that probably goes from both of them, trying to get them both into the team at the same time. They're both 18, remember, as well. It's probably not the brightest idea I've ever had, but we needed to improve that defence that we had before. Don't think we've done that yet. Right, here we go. Let's grab the winner. Grant, we've got a minute to do it. Grant, forward to Hall, and it doesn't make it there, and Hall's got a chase down but doesn't get there, and the game, that felt like it ended early. Ultimately, I think a draw against Huddersfield is not a disaster. We are maintaining the Kev ratio. Now, let's go and beat Northampton after an international break. Ugbo has been injured, then fit, then injured, then fit again during that international break. It's been very weird. He's not fully match fit, so he's going to be down on the bench with almost got his name wrong. Barry Scott coming back into the team to play up front with Hall, but we're going to leave Hall as a target man because apparently he can do it, just not as well as he can do being a poacher. But that whole poacher advanced forward thing together wasn't really working. What we will do is change Grant to be a playmaker in behind. Lots of playmakers in there. That could be a problem. But luckily, we're only playing against Northampton, who apparently are in the Championship. I have checked. I don't understand how, but they are genuinely in the Championship. Look at their tiny little ground. It's so adorable at this level. But we are sat here on the Kev ratio at the moment, and I guess because the board are just looking for us to stay in the Championship, that's fine. As long as we carry on at a point a game, that's fine. But this is one of those games against one of those teams where this is where we should start putting a little bit of a gap to allow ourselves a mistake later on. And David Hall does put us 1-0 up after 5 minutes. It's a lovely cross from Barry Scott, and he's really adding that to his game this season. Before he was injured, we saw a couple of real beauties of crosses from him, and here's another one. Drifts out into a wide position, cross over to Hall, who just nods it past the keeper, proving that he can play as the target man. He's a big target man as well. Got to love a big target man. We've had this conversation before. Right, let's embarrass Northampton. I'm up for embarrassing Northampton. Just questioning what on earth they think they're doing up in the Championship, and the game can hear me. I shouldn't be talking about embarrassing opposition when we're only 1-0 up, because that's when the game is determined to put you back in your place. On the topic of small target men, I mean, this is tenuous at best. Sedwin Scott, obviously, 1-1 offside, maybe? It was offside. Hurrah! Sedwin Scott from the back in the Borough save. You should be seeing him again later on today. Full disclosure, I'm recording this video just before midnight on Monday night, which I never, ever do. I don't think I've ever recorded a normal video this late at night. But if you watch the vlog channel, you'll know that although I'm better now, Andy's off school, and with Anna being back at uni, it means I'm not able to record during the day. So this one's definitely recorded and will be out for normal time. There shouldn't be any interruption to Non-League to Legend all week. Back in the Borough is a little bit trickier to fit in. It was supposed to be moving to a 7 o'clock slot this week. I'm still aiming for 7 o'clock, but it really depends on what time Anna gets home. It might be that it's in its normal 9 o'clock slot for today only, and then it'll be from 7 o'clock tomorrow. But keep an eye on my Twitter. It's probably the best thing to do. I'm realistically not going to get that recorded before I go to bed, because I've still got to edit this, and I've got to be up at 6. I don't know. The life of a hard-working, self-employed YouTube man / carer who actually has to do some caring because their kid's sick. What you going to do? But there shouldn't be too much disruption, but just to give you a little bit of a heads up, if the Back in the Borough video is not out exactly when you expect today, that's why. But then for the rest of the week, we should be completely back to normal because Anna's only at uni Monday and Tuesday, so we should be fine from then on. Right, we're 2-0 up at half-time. That puts us up to 13th in the league, which is a very pleasant situation to be in. More important than any of that, though, it pushes Northampton down into the relegation zone, where they deserve to be, whatever division they're in. Northampton Town should be in the relegation zone of that division. It's just where they like to hang. But Dazelle running forward, Out to Van Aanholt, back to Boateng. Let's knock the ball around nicely here a bit. Grant, out to Van Aanholt. And there was, I smelt penalty there, but Barry Scott says, never mind your penalty nonsense. Stand up, lad. I'm sticking this in the back of the net. 3-0 after 51 minutes. And then we can worry about penalties another day, on days when we're going to miss. Have we finally got our strike partnership? These two looked very good together on the first day of the season and then weren't really able to play massively after that. I was messing around with different combinations of poacher and advance forward, target men, and then we had the injury to Barry Scott. We were trying to get Ugbo into the team. We were giving Dunn some game time. This seems to be the combination, though. Having Hall and Scott together, and if Hall can play as a target man, all the better. Barry Scott, has he just got his hat trick? He has, I think. Is it a hat trick? It is his hat trick! Hurrah! Barry Scott is absolutely on fire this season already. Considering he's missed 2 or 3 games for injury, he's already our top scorer, and he's made that entirely himself. Makes the tackle, beautiful finish, 54 minutes gone, it's 4-0. We are absolutely thumping Northampton, putting them in their place. And now I guess we need to start thinking in terms of we may as well take Barry Scott off, get Dunn on, because he's got his hat-trick, he's recovering from injury. There's no point keeping him on the pitch in those situations, so let's just make that change with half an hour to go. See if Robbie Dunn can grab a couple of goals, give him the opportunity to play as the advance forward, because he doesn't get that opportunity massively often at the moment. He often finds himself coming on as a target man. As we try and work out, as much as I like Ugbo, he's not a goal threat. He's more of a link-up man. And with Hall, is that the new guy's name? I can never remember his name. Hall, yeah. With Hall up there, we just seem much more of a goal threat as a unit. Right. Tunnicliffe can come off for Shashua. Just swap those two over. Dazelle doesn't want to do that. Oh dear. Right, do that. And you can swap with you. And become one of... No, just do that. Sorted. And we've got Ford on the bench, actually. I'm messing around with central midfielders. Let's get our young winger on the pitch. Can we do that? There you go, let's do this. So you can be an inside forward on attack. You like to be a shadow striker. Also on attack, you can be a winger. You can then do this. It's taken us a minute, but I think we're there. We're going to do that. And then we're not going to exploit the middle. Tactical change, everybody. With 20 minutes to go. Try something a little bit different. Have another look at Ford, who only really gets to come on in these situations. He's going to assume that football is always played when you're just knocking the ball around because you're 3 or 4 goals ahead, because it's the only time he ever gets on the pitch. But we're giving him valuable experience by getting him into these situations, and also giving Robbie Dunn an opportunity to play out on the wing. If we decide to go down the route of this kind of system, Dunn's candidate number 1 to be our left winger, I think, because we don't really have much in the way of other options who can play out on that left-hand side, but both Dunn and Tyreek Bartlett can both play out there, so they'd be the obvious ones who would come in on that side if Ford forces his way into the right-hand side, and we have to find a way to accommodate him because he's one of our own. Therefore, if he gets good enough for the first team, we change our first team to get our homegrown lad in it, and we figure it out. But mission accomplished today. We have soundly beaten Northampton. We're well ahead of the Kev ratio. We're back up into the top half of the league table, I think. And Northampton are down in the relegation zone. You can't have a more successful episode than that. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And probably a Back in the Borough episode at some point today. Tomorrow. It'll be today. Tomorrow for me, I think. It is just before midnight still. I'm so tired. Thank you very much for watching.